I didn't plan to walk in on them. But there it was, the sound of laughter drifting down our hallway at 9:37 p.m., sharp and foreign. Emily's laugh, but lighter. Unfiltered. The kind she hadn't aimed at me in years. My hand froze on the doorknob of our bedroom. The door was cracked open just enough to see the flicker of candlelight dancing on the wall. Then I heard him. A man's voice, low and teasing. "Come on, Em. One more. For me." My blood turned to ice. Em. She hated nicknames. Hated them. When I'd called her Em once early in our marriage, she'd snapped, "Don't diminish me." Now here she was, giggling like a teenager at this stranger's lazy shorthand. I pushed the door open. The scene hit me like a crowbar to the ribs. Emily, my wife of 12 years, kneeling on the edge of our bed in a black lace teddy I'd never seen. Her hair was down, messy, her cheeks flushed. And him, Ryan, some guy with a gym rat jawline and a smug half-smile, leaning against our headboard like he owned it. Like he owned her. They didn't notice me at first. Emily's fingers were tugging playfully at his belt, her back to the door. Ryan's eyes flicked up, locked on mine, and his smirk died. "Shit," he said. Emily turned. Time stopped. Her face cycled through emotions like a slot machine, panic, guilt, then something worse, annoyance. Like I'd interrupted her coffee order. "Jake," she said flatly. "You're supposed to be at your mom's. I'd left 2 hours ago." She'd kissed me goodbye, told me to drive safe. Her lips had tasted like mint and lies. "Car trouble," I said, my voice robotic. Ubered back. Ryan stood, adjusting his pants. "Look, man, this isn't." I didn't let him finish. The rage came fast and white-hot. I lunged, grabbing the dumb bastard's collar, slamming him into the wall so hard a framed photo of our wedding crashed to the floor. Glass exploded. Emily screamed. Ryan swung wild, clipping my jaw, but I barely felt it. My fist found his nose with a wet crunch. He slid down the wall, blood streaking the paint. "Get out," I growled. He scrambled up, clutching his face, and bolted past me without his shoes. Emily didn't move. Didn't even cover herself. She just stood there, arms crossed, the lace clinging to her like a dare. "Well," she said. "You gonna hit me too?" The calm in her voice gutted me. No tears. No apologies. Just cold defiance. "How long?" I asked. She rolled her eyes. "Does it matter?" "Yes. 6 months. Maybe 7. She shrugged. Time flies when you're having fun. The casual cruelty of it stole my breath. This wasn't guilt. This was contempt. "Why?" My voice cracked. She laughed then, a bitter, ugly sound. "Why?" "Because you're boring, Jake. You with your spreadsheets and your 9 p.m. bedtime and your sad little attempts at intimacy. Ryan's alive. He doesn't ask permission to want things." I stared at her. The woman who'd cried when our dog died. Who'd held my hand through my dad's funeral. Who'd sworn forever in a white dress with gardenias in her hair. Gone. "Pack your stuff," I said quietly. Her eyebrows shot up. "My stuff? This is my house too." "Not anymore." For the first time, a flicker of panic. "You can't just. Watch me." I yanked her suitcase from the closet, threw it on the bed. Started grabbing her clothes blindly, dresses, shoes, the stupid silk robe I'd bought her last Christmas. "Stop it." She grabbed my arm, nails digging in. "You're being hysterical." I shook her off. "Hysterical? You were on your knees for him, Emily. In our bed. You don't get to call me hysterical. She stepped back, chin lifted. Fine. But I'm taking the Mercedes. And the lake house. I barked a laugh. You're taking nothing. I'll burn it all before I let you profit from this. Her mask slipped then. Just for a second. I saw the calculation in her eyes, the realization that I wasn't going to beg, wasn't going to negotiate. You'll regret this, she hissed. Already do, I said, zipping the suitcase. Starting with the day I met you. Her slap caught me by surprise. My head snapped sideways, cheek burning. When I looked back, she was breathing hard, eyes glittering with hate. Fuck you, Jake. I opened the bedroom door. Get out. She left then, heels clicking on the hardwood. Didn't look back. Didn't take the suitcase. The front door slammed. I stood there, alone in the ruins of our life, and did something I hadn't done since I was 8 years old. I sank to the floor and sobbed. The whiskey didn't help. I'd been sitting at the kitchen island for 2 hours, bottle of Jack between my knees, replaying Emily's exit like a snuff film. Her parting words, "You'll regret this," echoed in the silence, sharp as broken glass. I almost laughed. Regret? The only thing I regretted was not checking our security cameras sooner. The thought hit like lightning. I nearly tripped sprinting to the office, boots crunching over wedding photo shards. Our Nest system had been Emily's idea, for safety, she'd said. Now I prayed it recorded her unsafety. The footage loaded. There they were. Ryan arriving at 8:12 p.m., smirking at the doorbell cam like he was starring in a porno. Emily pulling him inside by his tie. My stomach churned as I fast-forwarded through their prelude, kissing in the foyer, hands under clothes, her leading him upstairs. Then I saw it. At 9:02 p.m., Emily paused at the foot of the stairs, glanced directly into the camera, and winked. She'd known. Known the cameras were rolling. Known I'd find this. She'd wanted me to see it. The realization punched through me. This wasn't just betrayal, it was warfare. I grabbed my keys. Ryan's address wasn't hard to find. Turns out when you're screwing a married woman, you shouldn't list your apartment complex on LinkedIn. Silver Oaks Luxury Residences, fitting name for a gold-plated prick. The night guard stopped me at the gate. Name? Maintenance. Rat infestation. He frowned. No work orders. I shoved a $100 bill through the window. Now there is. The gate rose. Apartment 312 smelled like Axe body spray and bad decisions. I pounded until the door flew open. What the foo? Ryan froze, one hand clutching a bag of frozen peas to his still swollen nose. I barreled inside, slamming him against a wall covered in CrossFit medals. How much did she pay you? I hissed. What? Emily. Was this a game? Some twisted revenge plot? He laughed, spittle hitting my cheek. Dude, she hates you. Paid me extra to do her in your precious bed. The admission hung between us, rancid. I'd expected denial. Not this raw, ugly truth. My fist connected with his gut. He folded, wheezing. You're crazy. Crazy? I yanked him up by his overpriced haircut. Let's discuss the $18,000 wire transfer from our savings account to yours last month. His eyes widened. I didn't. Bullshit. I've got the receipts. A lie, but his panic confirmed it. Emily hadn't just broken vows, she'd broken the law. The apartment door creaked open. Ryan? I brought Chardon. We both turned. Megan, my sister-in-law, stood frozen in the doorway, grocery bag slipping from her fingers. Bottles smashed. Her gaze darted between Ryan's battered face and my bleeding knuckles. Jake? What the hell are you? Ryan seized his chance. Call 911. He's insane. Megan didn't move. Just stared at Ryan's bare chest, the hickeys blooming like rotten fruit. You, and Emily? The pieces clicked. Megan's sudden interest in networking with Ryan's startup. Her defending Emily during our last fight. My knees nearly buckled. You knew. She stepped back. Jake, it's not. The scream tore from my throat. My own sister knew. Megan fled. Ryan lunged for a kitchen knife. I reacted on instinct, grabbed a dumbbell from his workout rack, swung. The crunch was louder than I expected. Police sirens wailed in the distance. I stared at Ryan's unconscious body, the blood pooling under his head. Megan's footsteps echoed down the stairwell. My phone buzzed, a text from Emily. Miss me yet? The screen cracked in my fist. The sirens screamed closer. Ryan's blood seeped into the grout lines of his tacky marble floor, forming a Rorschach blot of my rage. I grabbed his phone from the counter, passcode 6969, because of course, and bolted. Megan's Uber was idling at the curb. I slid into the back seat before she could scream. Drive. Now. Jake, what did you? Drive or I'll tell your husband about the pregnancy termination you charged to our joint account last spring. Her face went sheet white. The car lurched forward. Ryan's phone buzzed. A notification lit up the screen. Emily, 9:47 p.m. Police en route. Make sure they find the gun. Gun? I scrolled through his photos. Selfies. Gym pics. Then, there. A Glock 19, serial number filed off, tucked under our guest bed. Dated yesterday. My lungs constricted. Emily hadn't just wanted humiliation. She'd wanted a life sentence. Turn left, I barked. Head toward the river. Megan white-knuckled the wheel. They'll ping his phone. Already tossed it. The device sank into the murky water as we crossed the bridge. Pull over. She didn't argue. We ditched the Uber in a Kroger parking lot, hijacked a '98 Honda Civic with a Jesus Fish bumper sticker. The owner left the keys in the ignition, bless his trusting heart. Megan finally broke halfway to the state line. I didn't know about the gun. Just the embezzlement? I glanced at her trembling hands. How much did she promise you? A beat. 10%. I laughed. Harsh. Raw. Our entire marriage. 10%. Her silence confirmed everything. The motel was a roach palace off Route 17. I duct-taped Megan to the bathroom sink, pocketed her phone. Time to earn your redemption arc. Her voice shook. What do you want? Emily's burner number. I don't. I turned on the tap. Let icy water gush into the grimy basin. You've got 5 minutes before hypothermia sets in. She cracked faster than a walnut. The number connected on the first ring. Took you long enough, Emily purred. I watched Megan's teeth chatter through the steamed mirror. You missed a step. Oh. Should have killed me yourself instead of outsourcing to a meathead with CTE. Her laugh was crisp, rehearsed. Where's the fun in that? Besides, prison orange would clash with your complexion. I closed my eyes. Saw her smirking in some boutique hotel, sipping Chardonnay while cops tore apart my life. The $18,000 wire transfer. Ryan's cut? Our cut. Megan needed seed money for her side hustle. The pieces snapped together, Megan's sudden Bali retreat, her husband's mysterious layoff. Emily hadn't just cheated. She'd built a franchise. Megan whimpered. The sound snapped something in me. Listen close, Emily. I pressed the phone to Megan's drowning mouth, let her gurgled screams fill the line. You're next. I hung up. Her retaliation came at 3:17 a.m. Megan's phone lit up with a Twitter alert, at Emily Thompson Real, after years of abuse, I'm finally free. Share this if you believe survivors. The attached video showed doctored CCTV footage, me shoving Emily against a wall, her face pixelated in fear. Comments poured in by the thousands. Castrate him. Typical narcissist rage. Hope he rots. I stared at the screen until the words blurred. 12 years. 12 years of birthdays and ER visits and holding her hair back after food poisoning. Reduced to a hashtag. Megan's phone rang. Blocked number. I answered. Jake? A man's voice. Familiar. My throat tightened. Dad? Static. Then, they're here. They're saying you. A gunshot cracked through the line. Dial tone. The Honda's engine roared to life. Megan's pleas faded behind me. Let the cops find her. Let them all see the monster Emily created. Rain sheeted the windshield. I barely felt the speed bumps. Abuse. Survivor. Rot. Her words looped with every mile. Rot. 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 The highway blurred. Rot. I didn't see the semi. The cold bit deeper than the crash. I woke to darkness and the hum of refrigeration units, my body stiff on a steel slab. A toe tag brushed my ankle, John Doe. Multiple trauma. Unclaimed. They'd zipped me into a body bag. Declared me dead. Good, I thought. Let Emily celebrate. Let her cash the life insurance. Let her get reckless. The morgue door creaked open. A flashlight beam cut through the black. Still breathing, huh? A woman's voice. Young. Bitter. Figures. Men like you don't die easy. I tried to speak. My throat produced a gurgle. She unzipped the bag, her face swimming into view, pierced nose, shaved head, a tattoo of a snake coiled around her neck. The name tag read Lena, RN. Don't thank me yet. I didn't fish you out of that wreck for charity. She jammed a needle into my thigh. Adrenaline scorched my veins. I bolted upright, gasping. Your wife, Lena said, clicking her penlight, ruined my sister. Stole her inheritance. Doxed her when she asked questions. She leaned in. Her breath smelled like spearmint and vengeance. Help me burn Emily to the ground, and I'll keep your pulse a secret. I coughed, tasting blood. Why not just kill me? Because Emily's auctioning your abuse memorabilia online. She flipped open her phone. A live stream showed our wedding china tagged at $2,500. Bidders get a signed copy of her trauma manifesto. The screen flashed to Emily, teary-eyed, holding up a silk nightgown. This is what he ripped off me the night she trailed off, delicately devastated. Chat donations flooded in. Lena snapped the phone shut. You owe me a corpse. Let's give her one. We staged the photos in a derelict warehouse, my body posed mid-rot, face bloated under prosthetics, fake maggots spilling from a slit throat. Lena doctored the metadata to pin the location to Belize. She'll take the bait, she said. Narcissists can't resist gloating. She was right. Within hours, Emily posted a black and white selfie, red lipstick, widow's veil, with the caption "Justice served." Hashtags trended. GoFundMe donations tripled. Meanwhile, Lena smuggled me into her cousin's basement clinic. I healed among boxes of stolen antibiotics and a feral cat named Schrödinger. We dug. Found shell companies, forged signatures, a $1.2 million transfer to an offshore account labeled Project Phoenix. Her exit plan, Lena muttered. She was always leaving you. Just needed a villain first. The final piece came via Megan, who'd been arrested trying to flee to Cabo. In exchange for immunity, she coughed up Emily's burner number, and the security footage of Ryan planting the Glock. Lena grinned. Time to resurrect. Emily's grief retreat was a rented Malibu mansion. We found her poolside, dictating memoir chapters to a ghostwriter. Chapter 12, The Night He Almost Killed Me. Skip to the epilogue, I said, stepping into the sunlight. She froze. The ghostwriter gasped. Jake? Emily's champagne flute slipped, shattering on concrete. You're supposed to be dead? You'd like that, wouldn't you? I tossed the bulletproof vest I'd worn during the crash onto her lounge chair. Funny story, turns out semi-trucks don't care about your plot twists. She scrambled up, heels skidding. Whatever she told you, it's lies. The bank records? The gun? Megan's testimony? I pulled the Glock from my waistband. Not loaded. Didn't matter. Even Ryan's singing now. Turns out attempted murder voids NDAs. Her mask dissolved. You ruined me. No, I stepped closer. You did that when you kneeled for a paycheck. She lunged, nails aimed at my eyes. I caught her wrist, yanking her close. Smile, Emily. I nodded to the potted ficus where Lena hid, recording. You're viral again. The video dropped at midnight. In it, Emily confessed to everything, the embezzlement, the frame job, Megan's cut. By dawn, #CancelEmilyThompson had dethroned her trauma hashtag. Cops arrested her mid-interview on Good Morning America. Lena disappeared after wiring her half of Emily's frozen assets. Left a note, stay dead. It suits you. I didn't. Bought a cabin in Alaska. Changed my name. Sometimes I see Emily's face on true crime podcasts, her mugshot pixelated but her eyes still sharp with hate. I never loved her. Not really. But God, I miss the woman she pretended to be. The snow in Alaska doesn't fall, it suffocates. By April, the drifts around my cabin crest at 7 feet, burying the propane tanks and the generator I haven't fixed since Lena left. I don't mind the quiet. Silence can't lie to you. But tonight, the silence cracks. I'm chopping wood when the dogs start. Not the usual bark at a moose grumble. This is primal, hackles raised fury. I grab the rifle by the door, peer through the frosted glass. Headlights. A black SUV idles at the edge of my property, exhaust curling into the twilight. No plates. Engine running. Hunters, I tell myself. Lost tourists. But tourists don't sit that still. The driver's window rolls down. An arm emerges, gloved, and tosses a bundle onto the snow. The SUV reverses, vanishes into the pines. The bundle moves. I wait 10 minutes before approaching, rifle leveled. The bundle's a burlap sack, tied with twine. Inside, a Ziploc of cash, a burner phone, and a Polaroid. The photo steals my breath. Emily, in an orange jumpsuit, smirking through prison glass. Scrawled on the back in her loopy script, "Miss me?" Hugs and kisses. The burner rings. You're supposed to be dead, I say. Her laugh crackles through the static. And you're supposed to be smarter. Did you really think a few subpoenas and a hashtag would end me? I crushed the photo in my fist. What do you want? A trade. The $1.2 million you stole from Project Phoenix for a name. What name? The man who taught me how to burn a life to the ground. Her voice drops, venomous. Your father. The rifle slips in my grip. My dad's been dead for 6 years. Car accident. Except, she pauses, savoring it. Who identified the body, Jake? Ice crawls up my spine. The funeral was closed casket. Dad's truck found wrapped around a tree, engine charred. No dental records. No DNA. Just my word. He's alive, Emily says. And he's the reason Ryan knew which lies you'd swallow. The reason Megan betrayed you. The reason she exhales, almost wistful. Let's just say the apple didn't fall far from the sociopath tree. The woods tilt. I brace against a spruce. Prove it. Check the cash. I tear open the Ziploc. $100 bills spill out, stained with faded coffee rings and a distinct cinnamon smell. Dad's signature blend. He'd dunk his cash in it, swore it kept moths away. The burner pings. A video loads, security footage from a gas station in Wyoming. Date stamp, 3 days ago. A man in a Rockies cap pumps gas, face angled away. Then he turns, scratches his beard. My knees hit the snow. Same crooked nose. Same scar from the chainsaw accident. Same eyes that used to watch me build forts as a kid. Dad. He's been managing Project Phoenix from the start, Emily says. Taught me how to hide money, how to pick pawns. How to break you. Her tone hardens. The account's encrypted. I need the key. And if I say no? Then I'll tell the press you faked your death. That Lena's clinic butchered migrants for organs. That your little nurse didn't disappear, she's feeding bears in Denali. A smile in her voice. Tick-tock, Jake. Your move. The line dies. I stare at the cash, the photo, the looming forest. The truth howls louder than the wind. Dad's alive. And he's coming. The coordinates led to a derelict mining outpost north of Fairbanks, its skeletal frames jutting from the snow like rotten teeth. Jake's breath crystallized in the air as he trudged through the storm, the Polaroid of his father clenched in his fist. The SUV's tires had given out miles back. Now, only the gun at his hip and Lena's final text kept him moving, end this. Or it never ends. The shack door creaked open. Inside, a wood stove glowed, casting shadows over maps pinned to the walls, bank routes, offshore accounts, red excess over Megan's and Ryan's names. And there, in a moth-eaten armchair, sat the ghost. Took you long enough, his father said, not turning around. The voice was older, rougher, but unmistakable. Jake's finger hovered over the trigger. Why? The chair spun. 6 years had etched deeper lines, whitened the beard, but the eyes were the same, cold flint, just like Emily's. Just like his. You were soft, his father shrugged. Needed hardening. Emily was my best student, till she got greedy. Student? The word tore from Jake's throat. You blew up your own truck. Let me bury an empty casket. And you bought it. His father stood, grinning. Just like you bought her tears. Like you bought Lena's help. Still the same gullible kid. The bullet tore through the wall before Jake realized he'd fired. His father laughed, unfazed. Missed. Not aiming at you. Jake nodded to the stovepipe. A crack split the metal, spewing smoke. Carbon monoxide's a bitch, isn't it? Takes an hour. Slow. Confused. Just like Mom. The grin died. Jake stepped back into the blizzard. Enjoy hell. The door locked with a click. Lena found him at dawn, hypothermic and bleeding in a snowdrift. She didn't ask about the screams echoing from the shack. Just hoisted him into a stolen snowmobile, her tattooed hands steady. Emily's trial starts today, she said, avoiding his gaze. They found Ryan's body. Jake's head lolled. How? Dumb luck. Hiker in Wyoming. She hesitated. They're pinning it on your dad. He almost laughed. Let the dead take the blame. The snowmobile stalled outside a roadside motel. Lena shoved a duffel at him, cash, passports, a thumb drive labeled Phoenix. Go. Maldives. Mars. I don't care. What about you? She flicked a lighter, eyes on the horizon. Someone's gotta testify. The courtroom erupted when Jake walked in. Emily, chained to her chair, whipped around. Her porcelain mask dissolved into a snarl. You. He took the stand, thumb drive raised. Project Phoenix wasn't hers. It was his. The video played, his father's confession, recorded in the shack's choking fumes. Every embezzlement, every setup, every life traded for profit. Emily's face curdled. Liar. She lunged, chains clanking. That's AI. Deep fake. The judge slammed her gavel. Order. Jake stood, eyeing the exit. Let them dissect the truth. Let her rot in the narrative she'd spun. The cabin was ash when he returned. Local news blamed vagrants. Jake knew better, Emily's final gift. He sifted through the wreckage, finding only one salvageable item, the wedding photo, half melted, his younger self grinning beside a ghost. The burner rang. You forgot something, Lena rasped. A TV blared behind her, life sentence for Emily Thompson. The money's gone, Jake said. Not the money. A pause. Check the propane tank. Buried under frost, he found a lockbox. Inside, a deed to a vineyard in Argentina, a key, and a note, burn the past. Grow something. The plane banked over Patagonia, sunlight glinting off endless rows of grapes. Jake pocketed the key, shouldered his duffel. Below, a woman with a snake tattoo waved from a dirt bike. He never saw the figure watching from the terminal, gray beard, Rocky's cap, smiling as he dialed a familiar number. They're gone, he said. Start phase 2. The line crackled. Somewhere, a printer hummed, forging new deeds, new names. New ghosts. But that's a story for another life. Epilogue. 3 years later. The postcard arrived in winter. No message, just a photo of Emily's prison yard and a lipstick smear like old blood. Jake burned it, the flames blending with the vineyard sunset. Lena found him in the fields, dirt under her nails, a new tattoo peeking from her collar, memento mori. Still waiting for the past to die? She asked. He crushed a grape, let the juice stain his palm. It already did. The lie tasted sweet. Final line. Some fires can't be quenched. Only carried.